Oh my god, I can put people in timeout. That's funny. Okay. So we're going to eat breakfast and talk about chords. It'll be fun. Let's invite people. Because if I don't post on the other websites, nobody will show up. There's somebody here. Hello, mystery person. I'm going to play some chords for you. It's going to be fun. Oh. So, already gone. That was quick. So, right here, we have a 19 TET. Sounds more out of tune than yesterday. Let's do a, okay, I have to put in a photo or it's not real. Okay. There we go. There's Facebook. And now Discord, which we'll also bring in. Hey, it's user -1. Hi, user -1. I'm really glad you're here. If you hang around, other people might show up because they won't go away due to the peer pressure of having 0. So actually, this has to do with the song we talked about yesterday. So what I'm doing is I was sort of playing around with E and A and like this folk melody. Let me just post that I'm live in the Zen Discord really quick. Okay, let's see. Can I post it in general? Is that allowed? Probably not. Okay, posted it anyway. All right, so here we go. Here's the idea. So, well, first let me tune this B here. So this fifth is a little too flat, I think. There we go. That should fix it. Okay, so I've got this little folk melody going, like. Right, it's like a compound thing. And I also want to put D in it, add some mode mixture. And the main idea is that it's 3-bar phrases of like E, A, and D. And then sometimes it'll start with D and sometimes it will start with E. And the primacy will mess with which one is supposed to be tonic. So like, let's say I start the song and I'm here, right? So 3-bar kind of thing. Now let's say we start with D. So subjectively, what I do is if I'm playing E, A, and then D, like in a 3-bar phrase with that compound pattern, I will hear E as the tonic because D will become kind of like a Mixolydian artifact. Like the fact that E has happened first makes me think that A is the subdominant, and then D is like a backdoor going into E. And then if I play D starting first, it kind of sounds like A might be the tonic because E has a really strong sense of dominantness, like at the end of that progression, and then D delays what's going to A. It's very strange how this stuff works. I mean, I think a lot of people would have you believe that the idea of having a simple chord progression is really mundane, and sometimes it very much is, and is the result of someone not trying to make something that interesting. But it's also like, if you study some chord progressions that are supposed to be boring, and see like how they line up and like what the implied tonic is, it can get really crazy and out there sometimes. And it can be you can do that as quickly, as you want with just like a few simple chords like this, like E, A, and D in 3-bar phrases, not 4-bar phrases. See, I only changed 2 things and I got something unusual. So the bar for creating something unusual is really pretty low. Now I want to show you the rest of this. Let me see if I have the chords memorized. I don't think I do. Hello, Floral. Yeah, nice to see you. So right here, this whole, like when I started strumming in E and A and I was humming some low notes, I was like, oh, okay, these are some low notes that I actually like. So then yes, Levi's here. Yes. So what I'm doing now is, and actually, Levi, I'm really glad you're here because one thing I want to talk about in this live section is ideas for videos I should be making in 2024, of which I have many. And I'm sure you have something to say about that. So the idea is that when I was playing around, I wanted to kind of go into xenharmonic territory. And so I started by playing an F sharp chord, assuming I'm in E, it's kind of like a 5/5. And then I drifted to other chords that were sharpy and just came up with some cool stuff. And as I do so, I kind of gradually ascend up the fretboard. And then, well, not I go to a high chord and then I start to descend along the fretboard. And then what happens is I kind of land down here at E again. And the way the chords meet up has to do with major thirds going inward. What I mean by that is like this first chord progression where I start high and crawl down and proceed clockwise kind of through the circle of fifths, skipping some chords, of course. When I do that, I end up on C at the very last part. And then the melody goes E, F, G, G sharp. And the G sharp lands back on E. So E is our tonic in that situation. And E is the tonic in the other one too. So then I had to come up with like a parallel chord progression that I also liked that starts on D minor instead of F sharp. And then this one had the job of, instead of kind of starting more up here and crawling down, starting here and crawling up, and then jumping back down to E, with the idea that if I play a G sharp chord going to E, my melody can do the exact opposite of what the one going from C to E did. And it can go D sharp, C sharp, B sharp, and then the B sharp can resolve down to B. Now, the thing that's special about that is G resolving up to G sharp and B sharp resolving down to B, are the same distance mathematically. And in 19-tone equal temperament, it would just be 1/19th of an octave. So I'm hoping the lyric can contain something relating to like a small correction. Let's see. I don't know if I can remember it offhand. I totally understand the feeling, Levi. Let's see. Negri 10 contains few harmonic scales. How about a Negri scale of C sharp harmonic minor? Oh, that's a great idea. I've actually never thought of making Negri 10 into a harmonic minor scale. I have thought about using it for like altered chords with a few extra notes here and there. With Negri 9, that seems to work pretty well. 10 is a lot of notes for me. Okay, I'm going to take a bite of yogurt and grab some chords. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Oh, wait. I think this is it right here. I thought it was in another room, but here it is. Okay. So here are the chord progressions. And I've also, hi, Sean. I've also written some things out. So the thing that's really cool about this, I think, is that what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make a lot of opposite processes agree with each other in the chord progression. And that makes it not so formulaic. Like I'm not just taking one chord progression, flipping it over like with negative harmony, and then pasting it in the other section. Like there's something more to it that escapes exact regularity, which is something I really like. Okay, sweet. So here's the idea, right? Let me play D, A, and E, and then I'll come around to these chords. Oh, I can time people out now. I clicked learn more and it went away. Okay, now we're back. Let's see. So okay. Now here's the chord progression. Back around. Now, let me explain that. Okay, so we had the total progression together was F sharp, then D sharp minor, then A sharp. And now here's the melodic figure that's interesting. If I hold the E sharp right in my voice and do that, like if I make that melodic figure in my voice, your expectation is that A sharp will resolve back to D sharp minor because it's a 5-1 relationship, and that's a very common expectation. But instead, I do something else. This is very spur of the moment. I just noticed that, oh, wait, if I hold F sharp over like C sharp minor, that would be so cool. And then it could resolve up to G sharp in the melody. And then it would create this really, really unpredictable melodic figure, but it still sounds sharpy enough for me. And this is before I decided I wanted to move a particular direction in the circle of fifths. So as I was doing this, I didn't realize that this would actually take me back in the way I didn't want to go. But it's okay, because it bounces back and forth, and there's some times where it goes over a large distance. Okay, so right here, we have that F sharp, D sharp minor, and the note I'm singing is like D sharp. Right, and now I'm singing E sharp and playing an A sharp chord. That's the kicker right there. You hold that F sharp over a C sharp minor chord, and then F sharp resolves up to G in the melody. So when you arrive on the note, it's kind of a false resolution, but since it's a fourth over a minor chord, it still fits in with its diatonic structure. And I'm going to do something else to play with that melody there, like F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, right? In 19 TET. And then if you hold the A sharp as you're playing this next chord, the G sharp chord, well, that's like a ninth on top of it. So the chord progression we have here is then C sharp minor, G sharp. And then if we go A sharp, B sharp, now something else cool happens. I go to a B sharp major chord, and that takes us really far. And B sharp is the same as C flat. So I'll show you. And then there's that B sharp / C flat. My hand is getting tired of barring these, so I'm gonna cheat and not hold that one down. And then that starts this weird ending section where the chord progression goes C flat, G flat minor, B flat minor, C. And as long as we get to C, we can do this that gets us back to E. So, here's how that all works out. The melodic theme then, like let's say I've arrived at the C flat chord. The notes I've just sung in the other key correspond to like a flat 7 and a flat 6 from that, right? We could say, if we were thinking in sharps, we could say it's like B sharp, A sharp, G sharp, and then F double sharp is like the melodic contour I'm singing. If we were thinking in flats, we could go C flat, B double flat, A double flat, G flat, right? Right there. And then that's our G flat minor chord. So we landed on the note, and we sang notes from what was happening previously, and it still kind of works out. I also think that if I sing that kind of melodic figure over such a chord that may or may not imply dominantness, it will sound like it wants to go to F flat minor instead of G flat minor. So this is playing on the theme I have where, like, melodically, a certain resolution is strongly implied, but harmonically, we put a different chord over it that still fits. And I also kind of go some extra notes so that I'm singing the root here, right? I could have gone. Right, that's the normal 5-1 resolution. But instead, I'm going here. And now this does something very important. If I have a G flat minor chord here and sing the 5th, I'm sharp. Right here, this is a B flat minor chord, and the minor third of that, D flat, shares the 5th with a G flat minor. Then B flat minor is a minor 4 of like F sharp minor. So that's close enough of a relation that if we play C right after, it doesn't sound too crazy. We also get this nice thing where after we sing the 5th and play the B flat minor chord, recognize that anywhere? We sang that melodic portion earlier in the C flat chord, but we were just singing it in a different spot. Right? And then we have so it's a little bit higher here because it's like a C7, like a C chord, more so than a C flat chord. So it's just one step higher. So I think it has a really nice sense of sudden lift at the end of the progression. Like in the first part of the progression, we kind of disguise the fact that we're doing Zen harmonic stuff. And then at the end, there's a little bit more of it. So I think it pops really nicely to lead us back into our original key. So let me play that again, now that you have the context. F sharp, D sharp minor, A sharp minor, do do do, C sharp minor, do, then A or G sharp major, do, then B sharp, ooh, then G flat minor, ooh, B flat minor, ooh, C, do. There we go. We're back. Okay, here is the opposite progression. Ooh, we have a question. Let's see. Are you going to do anything with super major / sub minor, or are you going to lean into the 5-limit sweetness for the folk song vibe? Yes, I'm going to lean into just major and minor chords for this one, as much as I very much love sub minor and super major. Those are great colors to have. But I did want this one to be very, very, like, passes like super traditional and sweet, even though the chords are wild. So yeah. Okay, now here's the opposite one I came up with. So the things that I was trying to do were, I was trying to travel the opposite direction in the circle of fifths. I was trying to employ similar melodic figures that I had before, for which I will create rhythms that are slightly more unique than what my instinct alone can provide. And maybe we'll, do a compare, kind of like go back and forth between those. And then I also wanted to include some of the same strange resolutions I found naturally while crawling down the neck in the first one. Namely, I wanted a dominant chord, like a 5, to resolve to its 3. So like in the first part, the first one where you have F sharp, right? This kind of thing. F sharp resolving to D sharp minor. F sharp could easily go to B. And that's exactly what you would expect in E. But if it goes to D sharp minor instead, then it's more like you're in B and you've pivoted somewhere else. And then D sharp minor going to A sharp takes you into yet another place. So that's the idea. So F sharp minor going to D sharp minor. That's a great idea for resolution. Now, I have been singing E sharp to lead down to the bass, and maybe I want to sing E so that we're acting like it's going to resolve to B, but then it really goes somewhere else. Because I feel like when I sing an E sharp, that kind of kills it. But it also means that later when I sing E sharp and an A sharp chord, that it like fits more because I wasn't flipping between modalities so much. Hey, equally divided minds, first time. Hello and welcome. First time on the live stream. I hope you're enjoying it. I'm just talking about a cool song I wrote. Well, it's not completely written, but like I'm very proud of the chord progression. So we just went over the first part, which is getting to a sharpie place on the neck and proceeding clockwise in the circle of fifths by crawling down. Now I have to do the opposite, and it's a lot harder because it's not as intuitive. But here's what I've come up with, and I'll articulate the chords in a little bit. Let's see. Hi, Carmen. Let's see what I can do here in 12 minutes. Okay. So right here, let's say I played the progression the other way. We don't end on E. Now we're starting the progression. Nope, that should be major. Oh. What did I do? Oh, I had the sixth. You can see I don't know this one as well. C sharp minor. Where are you? No. Oh, I get it. It's so far up the neck that doing this is better than bar. Okay, that's the whole progression, even though I didn't play it all the way through. So here's the idea. The idea is that the melodic figure is hopefully accomplishing some of the same stuff that it did in the past. And this will all make way more sense when I actually put out the song. So there's a lot of ideas that I want to do, and unfortunately, there's a different, equally valid reason for every one, and they're all in competition. Like, I should write that big acapella album because, like, then I could do it before somebody else does it, and I'm really excited about the material. But that would feel really like, not playing any instruments. Like I've collected all these instruments, right? And I want to do like a beautiful, like folksy album because like I feel like I could almost improvise it. But I feel like if I do a lot of that, it's going to be tricky to do that and not be like Zen harmonic enough. I don't know. So each of these little ideas is a universe that misses out on something else, and that's good because when you add them all together, you get like maybe like the 9 or 10 sort of things that I like to do, sort of all together. So let's see. Yeah. Let's see. Squeeze some kind of super Lydian chord. C, G, D, E, B, D, A. Oh, that's a good idea. There's definitely going to be stuff like that in the choral music I'm doing. Now, I don't think I'll be... That'd be really interesting for folk guitar because I think you could do the same thing that you do in jazz and omit a lot of fifths from a structure in order to play something that implies that many notes. You'd have to leave some out. So it would have to be approached really intelligently, but I think that's a great syntactical idea. It's also tricky to not make it sound too out. So a lot of that comes from burying it within the texture. I'm less sensitive to chromatic clusters than I used to be. I don't find them offensive. I mean, I never did really find it that offensive, but It just used to be like a big like chord-based red flag, and now I'm just like, I've heard these in microtonality, and my ears have widened, so I don't care as much. As long as if they're not right next to each other, if like you have C, C sharp, and D, they're all right next to each other, it's pretty crunchy. And if you have like C sharp that's really low, like in another tuning, and D that's a little bit higher in something, that can work. It doesn't sound as unpleasant as C sharp, D all next to each other. And you could also tune that in JI too. Like if you tune that in JI, you can make it work if it's high enough. If you wanted to like be harmonic and all of that stuff. So yeah. Let's see. Doing a Lumitone live stream sometime. That is a great idea. I would definitely like to do that in the near future. Oh, asking how my day is. So far, it's pretty good. I've awoken with a lot of optimism. I've been overworked and unproductive over the weekend. But I'm looking forward to today, I'd say, as much as one reasonably can. Okay, great. So let's talk about this other minor progression. So starting here with A minor. This idea is that A minor is going to F minor. Now, that is a chromatic mediant relationship. And if I hold up the sheet that I wrote down for myself, you can see that the relationships mirror each other. So A minor going to F minor mirrors how earlier we went from G flat minor to B flat minor. Even though they're not the same relationship, they're not flipped over any axis of symmetry as a negative harmony. It's just their relationship, right? Because if you're singing that, you might expect with a major chord, but it's minor instead. And then we get C. If we're singing a C, when we go to the C chord next, we want to get up to a G. Because then if you get there, what happens is we can do that idea where we've set up the fake resolution in our heads of like C resolving to F minor, since we just played it, and we'll even sing it melodically correctly, right? We'll go, and then when we land on that A flat, the chord that's under it is not going to be F minor. It's going to be G flat and major. So we'll be singing the ninth of it. A minor, then F minor. Sets up A flat in our heads. C, G, over C chord. Do, 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 do. Right? We sang A flat, and here's G flat. Do, do. So now next, in this chord, I wanted to, after we had that resolution, I wanted to make it so that I could sing one note that was a little bit higher, and that note would carry over into the next chord. It doesn't work as well since it's the fourth compared to the earlier one, but it's mirroring C sharp minor going to G sharp earlier, where I have the option of holding an A sharp over. Here, I have the option of holding maybe a B flat or a C flat, and then the next chord is C flat minor. And that's where the flats change. So like you'd have C flat minor here in this next part, and then I start to think of it as B sharp minor, and then go to a D sharp chord. So right here, we've got this, right? Oh, what are you doing? There we go. Right? C flat minor. Now here, this is me going C flat, D flat, and we were thinking of it as C flat, D flat earlier. And here's the moment where it changes. B sharp, C double sharp, D sharp. So we sing up to a major third instead of a minor third that was in the chord. And that puts us all the way in D sharp major. And then on this chord, we start to have that melodic figure downwards that we had over the over like the B sharp and the C chords earlier. Right? end up on G sharp, and now here's an E chord. Now, in this section, when we move from E to C sharp minor, what's going to happen is that is mirroring F sharp going to D sharp minor earlier, i.e., we have a chord that is major that you might expect to go to its, like, if it was a dominant, it would go to its tonic, but instead it goes down a minor third to a minor chord. So, you might expect it to go here, but it's not. It's going to go to here. Then there's C sharp minor. Now we've crawled all the way up like we were supposed to, right? So I somehow managed to, like, there's lots of parts where I wanted to play an easier chord that was down here. I said, no, I'm going to keep going up. So we went up to C sharp minor here. And now, in order to have a minor second between what I'm singing, I really like singing this high A over the C sharp minor because it doesn't belong in the chord, but then it resolves down. Ah, yes. Very nice. And that is another melodic figure going downwards, just like we had earlier in B flat minor going to C. We have this one as C sharp minor going to G sharp. Similarly to how before in this progression, we had D sharp going to E with the same contour as B sharp going to F double sharp minor or G sharp minor earlier. So the melodic contours mirror each other very nicely, and the progressions are also backwards from each other. So I'm very excited to play it and kind of record it and think about where that's going. Of course, I have no time to do it because there's a bunch of other stuff going on. But this is just what happens when I like pull out the guitar and I'm like, man, I just need to play something. All these instruments can't just sit here. So there we go. And then the last part of the progression is if I've got this, right? If I just went to C sharp minor, that melodic piece going back to E is the inverse of the one we had before, where it goes E, F, G, G sharp, and has this little thing here. Now this one is going D sharp, C sharp, B sharp, B, and B sharp. B is a little movement, just like G to G sharp is a little movement. Okay, well, I feel like maybe I should keep this one. A lot of people showed up, which is interesting. I didn't think that many people were going to show up. And this song is also really solid, but I was thinking this was going to be like a 10-minute one. You know how it is. So everybody here's my request for you. I've I've put up a video just now. It should be on there where I play a Taylor Swift song in 15-tone equal temperament, but I'm pretending that I bought the Swiftie like piano calendar for 2024, and they accidentally sent a 4-octave piano in the mail because I saw some people talking about it on the internet like it was spam. So I thought I could contribute this little bit of silliness to the narrative. So if you all could click on that video and share it with your friends, especially those who are really into Taylor Swift and who, like, you know, maybe haven't had their brain wrinkled by anything for a while, and they like need a little brain wrinkling with one of their favorite artists. You can just give them that. And then, you know, you can also act upset that like Taylor sent me a 4-octave guitar and everything. I will definitely be walking up to people and being like, hey, I bought the Swiftie calendar, but I got 4 octaves. What gives? So it'll be fun. Oh, I was going to talk my video ideas for 2024. Yes. Okay. So I don't have them in front of me, but here are just some off the cuff. These are non-cover ideas. I've already documented the cover ideas on my Patreon, so you can see those if you're there. For this, I'd want to make a video on how to notate every equal temperament, trying my best to field any controversy that could exist because people like to do it different ways. Now, my preference is to do it so that you have the least amount of explanation for a musician. Now, modern musicians are already familiar with quarter tone accidentals that come from Stein-Zimmerman accidentals. Look no further than score follower videos for that, but I mean, you can dig into just like any contemporary classical music at all and you'll probably find them. If it's old enough, the symbols used will be different. And sometimes people will use arrows for quarter tones if things are old enough. But because quarter tones have become so commonplace, people now use arrows for eighth tones. So you should use arrows attached to like natural sharps and flats. I think for ups and downs as well, because they look like accidentals that people have seen and they actually mark the line in space. So given all that, we can actually notate most everything. And some equal temperaments have a few interesting problems. Two that I consider very interesting are 15 and 66. So I've gone on enough about that. The problems are there, you can research them, but they might not be that easy to find on their own without working with them yourself or consulting other score material. You know, it's hard. So I'd like to do a video on how to notate all the equal temperaments and go through them exhaustively, make it like a Jan Measley video. I'd like to do a video on getting Dorico to play back microtonal notation because I had some problems with it when I updated. I'd like to do a video on comparing microtonal notation in various systems. And I'd love to contribute more to the sphere of like exporting microtonal MIDI in Dorico and making that work in your digital audio workstation. I think in Finale requires more steps to get it to play back properly, but apparently it is possible, and it would also give you linearly mapped MIDI data. Yes, equally divided mind, very good. 66 because it has two diatonic scales. Now, 66 is 22 times 3, as well as being 33 times 2. And 22 times 3 gives you the closer fifth. So theoretically, you'd want to notate this as 22 tone equal temperament times 3. And this gives you way janker accidentals than 33. But 33 is also farther from ideal. So without actually trying to create and read 66 tone equal tempered music that's somewhat traditional or has some kind of rules that make things work out, I don't really think there's a way to know at this point whether it's easier to use 22 times 3 or 33 times 2. I mean, the real question would be, is the completely cluttered nature of 22 times 3, is it easy enough to ascertain quality from that based on experience with other equal tunings, general rules about JI, that 33 times 2 should be out the window? Because if we write things in 33 times 2 and they make way more sense, like on the page, you know, with major and minor, I have a feeling that 22 times 3 will still be best. And that's the one we want to be the best, right? Because it has the closest fifth. So then we don't have to argue with anybody. So there's that. Let's see. One more. Let's see. Comparing notation softwares. Oh, one video I really want to make that I think would be really helpful are like listing like my top 10 microtonal tools that I like to use that I feel like not a lot of people use. I use them for my videos all the time, including like Super Virtual Keyboard is a really good one, and Fretfind 2D. You'll see Super Virtual Keyboard in the next video. Infinitone, Dorico. So like there are 10 of them that are just so good that when you have them all together, you can basically do anything you want if it's in the box and everything. So yeah. Oh wow, we have 13 people. How's that possible? Okay, well, those are all the ideas I have right now. I've got to get going. So I will leave you to the Taylor Swift video. Do enjoy it and share it with your friends. Express fake outrage that I got a 4-octave keyboard in the mail, etc. And I will see you all later. Bye.